On a Tuesday at midnight, the supermarket parking lot is empty. 200 painted stalls, 3 cars, 1 lamppost. That site covers more ground than the housing block across the street, and nobody lives on it. It pays almost no tax, generates no street life, and soaks up heat all summer. Yet somebody once judged it essential. The researcher Shoup calculated something that captures the whole matter. In his country, the area of off-street parking per car exceeds the area of housing per person. The question holding this video together is blunt. What is the land worth where nobody lives, and who is paying for it? Let us run the numbers on that lot. A single stall takes about 12 square meters, but once you add the maneuvering aisles, each car consumes roughly 30. 200 stalls therefore mean around 6,000 square meters of land, more than half a hectare. I flag this as an order of magnitude estimate, not a design. On that surface, with an ordinary 4-story neighborhood building, you could fit close to 100 homes, ground floor shops and an inner courtyard. Or around 200 shade trees. Or a nursery school, a health center and a square. All of it is currently painted white on gray, waiting for cars that rarely arrive together. Now the mechanism, which is where it gets interesting. Almost no parking lot exists because a developer freely chose it. It exists because planning rules demand it. Ordinances set a minimum number of stalls per dwelling, per square meter of office, per shop unit. Those figures come not from any local study of need, but from tables copied between municipalities across decades. Shoup exposed the vicious circle. Peak parking demand is measured where parking is free, that peak becomes a binding requirement, and so there is always surplus space and never a price. It is a prophecy that fulfills itself, written into the regulations. The cost is not symbolic. A recent analysis from the University of California estimates that building 1 underground stall costs more than $70,000 on average, land excluded, while an above-ground structured stall runs around $50,000. Translated into housing, mandated parking adds between $50,000 and $100,000 per flat. Shoup had already calculated that the requirement raises construction costs by roughly a third when the garage sits above ground and by more than half when it is buried. Here comes the political detail. That surcharge is folded into the sale price or the rent, whether you own a car or not. People who never drive pay for the garages of people who do. The effects on urban form run just as deep. In quite a few mid-sized North American cities, off-street parking covers more than a third of downtown land. The result is a center with broken teeth, building, gap. Walking becomes absurd because there is nothing to look at and distances stretch out. Street-level commerce disappears for lack of pedestrians. And continuous asphalt turns the center into a heat island through the harshest months. None of those consequences was decided by anyone. All of them follow from a technical table that almost nobody debates at council meetings. There is evidence about what happens when the requirement is dropped. One Northern American city abolished its parking minimums entirely, and developers built fewer than half the stalls the old rule demanded. More revealing still, 2 out of every 3 homes approved after the reform would have been illegal under the previous code. Not for their height or their use, but for failing to bring enough cars with them. Nearly 100 municipalities across several countries have now removed these minimums. The evidence shows that without the mandate, parking still gets built, but only the parking somebody is willing to pay for. Now the counterargument, and it deserves serious treatment. If a new building supplies no stalls, its residents will park on the street, and that street is a limited public resource already used by earlier neighbors. The conflict is real and explains why the measure draws such local opposition. Moreover, in peripheries poorly served by public transport, a car is no luxury but the only way to reach work, and penalizing it punishes those who earn least. Removing minimums in a city with no transport alternative does not free up land, it merely shifts the problem onto the pavement. Reform without buses and rail is a transfer of cost, not an improvement. It can still be argued that the answer to that conflict is not forcing garages to be built, but managing public space. Shoup himself proposed charging for curbside parking at a price that always keeps a stall or 2 free, and returning that revenue to the neighborhood as pavements, trees, or lighting. The district then sees a concrete benefit and stops defending free asphalt as an acquired right. The editorial position is this: parking should be neither banned nor mandated, but paid for by whoever uses it. Everything else amounts to splitting an enormous bill among people who do not even know they are paying it. Return to the opening question. What is the land worth where nobody lives? It is worth exactly what we stopped building on it: the missing homes, the shade that never grew, the school that moved to the outskirts. That value appears in no budget, because nobody invoices what never happened. So the next time you cross an empty parking lot in the middle of a city, do not think of it as a vacant plot. Think of it as a planning decision taken decades ago, written into a table, and still in force every night that asphalt wakes up without a single car on it.